participants has joined today. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another insightful webinar organized by Career Guidance Unit of University of Ruhuna. Most of us here are undergraduates who would be engineering undergraduates soon in few years of time. But generally, we believe in that our careers are a form of identity, that our degree defines who we are and what we are supposed to do. And this session is to help you understand that you will be a musician or a painter or have any career regardless of your degree. Your degree doesn't define you or your career. And today, myself, Mazase, and Ms. Nekasini will be the moderators for the session today. And you can post your questions in the chat box, and which will be answered at the later part of the session. And I will give it over to Nekasini to continue from here. Over to you, Nekasini.
Thank you, Maza. Am I audible?
Yes, Nekasini.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome all to today's session. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Mr. Peter DÁlmeida, who is going to talk to us about your degree doesn't define you or your career. First, I would like to take some minutes to introduce our speaker. First, Mr. Peter is the former managing director and chief executive of Enable, an IT company he founded in 2008 with the purpose of connecting people and things with insights for an efficient and intelligent world. Before his involvement with the IT industry, Mr. Peter was a banker. While his diverse career spans nearly 3 decades in the banking, advertising, and IT industries, Mr. Peter has enjoyed a parallel career in the arts as an actor and a director. He is well known for his Kumbio series and movies such as August Sun and Lokudua. From a young age, Mr. Peter has been involved in national social movements and has been actively engaged in struggles for the defense of human and democratic rights and the protection of the environment. In the last decade, Mr. Peter has gained traction as a public speaker with a focus on storytelling, consciousness, and creativity. Currently, Mr. Peter is the CEO of Kehalmela Productions, whose purpose is to inspire and sustain audiences through creative storytelling that pushes past boundaries, embraces diversity, and provokes thought. Mr. Peter is an alumnus of INSEAD France. So with this brief introduction, let's welcome our honorable guest, Mr. Peter DÁlmeida, to take over this session. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nekasini, for the nice introduction. Thank you very much. And thanks all of you for joining this discussion. Now, the topic is engineering does not define you, nor does it define your career. So I'll change it a little. I'll say engineering does not define your career, and your career doesn't define you. Now we're changing it slightly, right? This makes it more interesting. So I'll repeat, your engineering degree does not define your career, and your career doesn't define your life. So with that, we'll get started. Now let's talk about, before I talk about engineering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk for about 25 minutes because I think that all first year university students, first year students to do engineering, right? You all have got good results and you have chosen engineering. Now the important thing in your life in university is you must ask questions. In schools, you're not allowed to ask questions. At home also, you're not allowed to ask questions. We'll come to that a little later. But at least now in university, particularly in your first year, now that you're going to choose what you're going to do from your second year onwards, you must be curious about and ask questions. So let's start today. So, and there is no such thing as a clever question I must ask. No, questions are questions. Children ask good questions because they don't care what you think about their question. So you just ask what's in your mind, you ask that. So I just want you all to be engaged with me, because our education system is this one-way communication. Lecturer will come, give a lecture, we'll ask some questions, maybe he will ask, and you might ask one or two questions maybe, but no encouragement to stop and let's really have a discussion on what we learned today. So let's change that a little bit, okay? Right, so on that, let's start on this word career, because everybody, lots of universities I speak to, career, career, so that's okay, but let's try to understand what career is. So career, now before that I'll tell you about my career, then you will get an understanding of what I'm trying to say. Because now, why have you all invited me? I don't come from a big degree, I'm not a PhD holder, I don't have big qualifications behind my name. So why did you invite me? Because I feel you all invited me because I might have something to share that is worthwhile for you. And I'm happy to share that. So where did that come from? If I didn't have a degree and a big long time in the profession or whatever, how did? So we'll talk about that. So here's what happened in my life. I'll tell you briefly my life story. So I was born into a family of 11 children. I was the youngest. Okay, my father was 40 when he married. My mother was 20, and he was a Catholic. So Catholic agame contraception, so you can't practice contraception. So you have to produce children. So in 20 years, he produced 11 children. He was 60 when I was born. 60. I became a grandfather when I was 60. You see? And then when I was 4 years old, he died. Heart attack. Now there are 11 children in the family. Eldest sister was married. She had left the house and gone to live with her husband. 10 children. My mother 11. My grandmother 12. My father had brought 2 cousins to stay with us because their father had abandoned them and he has gone off to South Africa or East Africa or something, I don't know. Now 14 people in the house, no income. Now what? Now my 2 elder sisters and my brother had to stop their education and they went to work to sustain this family. And my mother had to hold this family together. So then, only thing is, as a result of that, there was no time for anyone to interfere with my life. I was there. So I grew up fairly freely. Now, there was no parent-teachers meeting and all that during my time. My mother came on the first day to school, dropped me at the entrance. I was very confident. I said bye-bye and I went in. I was lower kindergarten. That's 1 year less than the first grade, like a pre-grade 1. I was 5 years old. And then after that, she never came. Once more, she came to school. Because in 1976, when I was the head prefect of my school, we did a boycott of classes. 1 day boycott of classes. Why? There was a Peradenia in 1976. Dr. Prince might remember this. 1976, there was a unrest in the university, and the police for the first time entered the campus and shot a student dead. And he was not protesting. He was going from the canteen with take some sugar and some tea. And those days there was a shortage of food, like what's happening now. People are standing in queues. We can talk about that later. So you have to take sugar in your hand. Not enough sugar. So he got killed. So we organized a 1 day boycott of classes with the other trade unions and all that. So he told all the parents to come to ask them, your son didn't come to school. My mother came and said, I agree with my son. So that was the end of that. So I grew up without any interference with my thinking. And A-levels, I'll come to my A-levels. Now, I was a very good student. I won a lot of prizes. O-level, I won the prize for physics, chemistry, all that. But A-levels, what happened was I was very interested in the subject matter. Now, you all are studying, you all would have studied the physics, no? A-levels, quantum physics, so I was interested in the 2 famous physicists, Niels Bohr and Max Planck. They are top scientists, physicists, quantum physics. So I was asking questions about Niels Bohr and all that, and the teacher said, I said, Tabuse Peter, where Pandita Prashnava, sure, I fail. Hari, mama fail. But I didn't fail because I gave up because I was not interested in just studying the notes and answering questions. So I just went for the paper, sat for half an hour, and I came. So I didn't, succeed in my A-levels. But then, okay, I'll tell you the story, then I'll tell you what. Then so, when I was 19, I joined the bank as a bank clerk. Now, I joined the bank not because I was thinking banking was going to be my career. This word career never entered my mind. Never entered my mind. I just went in, and I also went in to do trade union work because at 15 years, I had met this Marxist, veteran trade unionist, socialist, humanist. I was so lucky to meet him when I was 15. 15 years old, about philosophy, history, psychology, Marxism, socialism, social consciousness, classical music. 15 years, mind you. With that, I went to do trade union work. But I was interested in my banking. I didn't do only trade union work and neglect my banking. I was very interested and I was doing very well in banking. Then, because there was some dispute in the union, I got a bit disillusion and joined my friend, Ajit Iyer. He unfortunately passed away, my childhood friend. He started this company called East-West Information Systems. And he was the first IBM partner in Sri Lanka. I helped him to start the company, to write some proposal. I joined him as a sales manager. I knew nothing about IT. I'm joining as a sales manager. Now, there are already sales people working. Now they are saying, manager. So very quickly I had to learn IT. Not to do programming, but what IT was all about. I learned it on my own and with a little help from IBM and all that. Then I continued that as my career for a while. Then I moved from IBM to another company called Sun Microsystems, again IT, but a very unique company, the company that started Java, by the way. So that was a global company. I took a chance. At that time, IBM was the biggest IT company in the world. Sun was a small American company, but I took a chance and joined their Sun partner. Later, they made me the area manager for India SAARC region, service manager. I went there. Now, mind you, without a degree or anything, I'm going as a service manager for the entire SAARC region, based out of India. And India is having some top IT guys. I'm going and meeting these companies and selling them some technology. So that went on like that. Then my boss, Singapore Chinese woman, she tried to, put me down because I was rising. She got threatened. I said, you know what? I'm going back. I chucked up my job at in India, well-paying job. I moved with my family, 2 young girls. I just gave it up and I came back to Sri Lanka. And I started a video production company. Actually, my friend had started, I joined. And we became the first broadcast quality digital company in Sri Lanka. Video production. Did that for about 3 years. Back to IT, Millennium IT, a company that I had helped start. They were lost 2 of their key people. They wanted me to go. I started them. Worked there, top company. Gave it up. Started a new company in 2008 with only 12 people. With only 12 people. With 30 million rupees only from Hemas. That grew into a $30 million company. And today, I'm working as a part-time CEO of a company called KL Mala Productions, which is a company that's going to make movies and videos and YouTube content, TV series. And we're hoping some of these good work, especially young people, to take it to Netflix or Prime or Amazon. Now you see how my life moved. Never did I think I am going to make whatever I'm doing my career. Now we'll come to the meaning of the word career. Career kya hai mukha? Career na hai. Career is to commit to a profession. Ekka profession ekata man commit wenna. One profession. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a banker. That's okay. There's nothing wrong in that. And it means that you are in a job permanently. Permanent. Banking walata giyama ma ethaniin ayin wenna. Or you say I'm going to be a doctor or an engineer or something like that. Civil engineer, right? Whatever. So that is one meaning of the word career. There's another meaning. That's a verb, kriya pada. Verb. What does that mean? That is, there's a sentence in English, the car careered off the road and hit a wall. You're moving swiftly in an uncontrolled way, but in a certain direction. ඒක තමයි මම That's what I thought was my career. So, move swiftly, but in an uncontrolled way, but in a specific direction. Career කියන දේ මගේ ඔළුවට ගත්තේ නැහැ. I thought, okay, whatever I do at that moment, I will be very interested in that particular work. As a bank clerk, I was interested in banking. I was interested to know what was happening. So I come back to my point. So what did I have? I don't have a business degree. I don't have a technology degree. I don't have an acting school. So what did I have? Two things: curiosity, kutuhala, and problem solving. In Tamil, kutuhala is arvam, I think. Arvam, yes. Kutuhala, arvam. That's all. And that is what helped me. Because on any subject, if you have curiosity, today you have the internet. You can learn whatever you want. Yes, the degree is helpful. So now we come to the word. So that's all that I had that brought me where I am. Now we'll come to the word engineering. Now, there are lots of definition of engineering. And for you as first year students, good to think about it. Engineering engineering, we can say design and build. Solve problem, dictionary. Action to bring about something. To take some action, engineering. But recently, I was speaking at the Institute of Engineering, Sri Lanka. And also at the engineering faculty somewhere else, Morottu, I think. Now, here is and I came across this document called from the UK Engineering Council. Engineering the future. Go and look for it in the internet and find it. Engineering the future. That I found some very interesting definitions. First one, engineering is the art and practice of changing the material world for the benefit of humankind. The art and practice, not science. The art and practice, science, of changing the material, for the benefit of humankind. Manushya vargyage yahapata sada. And then they say engineers turn ideas into reality. Adahasak eka yatharthayata turn ideas into reality. Then, second point, in any situation, the engineer must have a clear understanding of the issues to be addressed. And the science behind it. So, in any situation, the engineer must have a clear understanding of issues to be addressed. What is the issue I'm addressing? What is the issue I'm addressing that I'm supposed to give a problem? You see. And thirdly, let's leave only those two. So you see. So what I'm trying to say is an engineer, first and foremost, does not need a scientific mind. Scientific mind, no. An engineer must have an inquiring mind. Vimasime sitak. Vimasime, inquiring. In Tamil, you say, Visarikum manam. Visarikum manam. Visarikum, inquiring. Look for. Now I'll give you an example of a person who's not an engineer. A chap called Muruganandan Arunachalam. Same South India, that Sundar Pichai came from. Now, Sundar Pichai became the head of Google. 260 kilometers apart, almost at the same time they were born. Somebody may have been a little older. Sundar Pichai went on engineering IIT Kharagpur and he went to become CEO of Google. Sundar, what is Muruganandam Arunachalam? I don't know whether you all heard of him. He's called Padman. There's a movie called Padman. Padman. Akash Kumar, the famous actor. Hindi film. What did he do? He had an inquiring mind. He was not a scientist. What did he do? There was a problem. His wife one day was taking some dirty rags. He said, what are you doing? And she said, no, I'm using this rag for my periods. And a woman gets period. No, sanitary pads in India are very expensive. He said, what the hell are you doing? I won't even use that dirty cloth to clean my bicycle. And he went to the shop and tried to buy it. It was so expensive. And he found this bloody thing had only cotton fibers. And he thought, what the hell? It costs 40 cents to manufacture. They're selling it some paisa, I can't remember. 40 times the price they were selling. So millions of Indian women were not using sanitary pads. Murugananna Arunachalam had an inquiring mind. He said, I want to learn to solve this problem. And he did crazy things. He did all kinds of experiments. He gave his pads to his wife and sisters and all, told them to return it so that he can see how it's absorbing the blood. They thought this man has gone mad. The villagers nearly tied him to a tree and nearly killed him. He said, okay, I'll leave the village. But he never gave up. He was wearing like a bag with goat's blood and his pad and cycling to see how it's absorbing. Finally, he went to various people and the IIT Madras helped him to make a machine. They told him it's fibros, wood pulp, how to make that, but he found a cheap way to make that, wood pulp. IIT India, Madras helped him. He won the National Innovation Award in India. And he was named one of the 100 most famous people in that year by Time magazine, the same year that Jeff Bezos was named. And today, he has made a low-cost machine that's producing this one fraction of the cost, low-cost machine, and it's run by poor Indian women. So he solved not only the problem of sanitary pads, hygiene, he solved the problem of employment, and he solved the problem of schooling, education, because most Indian women didn't go to school when they had their period, because they had no sanitary pads. Now that's an example of an inquiring mind. That is what engineers are supposed to have. So, first point is, you're starting on your life. Don't think that just your notes and katapadam karla, eka liyala, eka karata, that's going to make you a great engineer. Because what does an engineer do? Has to solve problems. That is real engineering. That's why you say engineer a solution. Engineer karan. So, that's why you have to start thinking now. Why am I here? Why am I doing engineering? First ask yourself, engineering engineering in a subject first, which is to solve problems. Unfortunately, real engineering work, it's all public works, real engineering, made bridges, dams, tunnels, irrigation systems. There was a thing called the Public Works Department. Now, remember, the Galloya project in the 1950s, it was a huge project in Sri Lanka, that was a multi-purpose project. So, I got the notes from that. It was a project for irrigation, power generation, flood control, all done by Sri Lankan engineers. They took the drawings and went to America and spoke to a company in Boulder, Colorado. And our engineers managed their engineers. But today in Sri Lanka, unfortunately, most of the big engineering works go to Chinese and Indians and all sorts of people. So there are no real engineering problems that we are working on, future engineering problems that we are talking about. So then you are now trying to select your subject based on what you know of electrical, mechanical, civil. Now you think electrical is about electricity generation only. And you'll think I'll join CEB. But look at electrical today. Now, I was reading a report of this MIT, famous Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They're talking about future engineering. And they talk about renewable energy engineering. Electrical engineering is a vast area of electrical, electronics, and electromagnetism. And what are they doing? What is it electrical about? Because there's electricity all around us. Tesla said electricity can be given free to everyone. There's so much electricity around us. We are not harnessing it. So the future is going to be renewable energy. You're going to produce electricity through renewable energy. Solar, thermal, windpipe, gas turbines. So that's a huge area. So when you're entering electrical, you have to think very differently to what you now understand as electricity. So what is it? Efficiency and output. You have to produce energy efficiently, and you have to give very good output, energy management. And what are the areas that it's gone to? All kinds of new areas. Mechanical engineering, IoT, Internet of Things. There are going to be billions of devices that are now talking to each other. So if you go to mechanical engineering and you're building something, you're talking about small components that you're putting together that will start sending you. Take a car. When you put it on the road, there are parts that are constantly sending messages back to the factory. So you're learning from IoT. So if you're thinking of mechanical engineering, you have to start thinking of IoT and sustainable way of doing it. So that's a whole new area. That's why they're saying two important areas that they're talking about. First, they're talking about automation and robotics. Second, they're talking about data science and data analytics. Then they're talking about renewable energy engineering. And they're talking about environmental engineering. These are new areas that you can start thinking of. So when you're choosing next year, and I hope the university also helps you all to think a little broader. And the question you have to really ask yourself, මොන ප්‍රශ්නද මං විසඳන්නේ? ඒක තමයි අපේ ළමයින්ට අම්මලාට කියන්නේ ළමයින්ගෙන් අහන්න එපා ඔයා මොනවද කරන්න යන්නේ කියලා. ඉන්න සිය පොර. No. What problem are you going to be solving? What do you want to be doing? So if you say I want to do something in environment, you can do any one of these engineering and go and do that. So that's what you need to do. And unfortunately, our education system does not allow us to think for ourselves. Our curiosity when we were young. You see? Because පොඩි කාලේ මොනවද වෙන්නේ? ළමයෙක් ප්‍රශ්න අහනවා. අම්මා කියලා පඬිතයා වෙන්න බඩේ නිය අන්දමාරි ප්‍රශ්න කේකාද பெரிய ප්‍රොෆෙසර් මාරි. චුම්මා කවායි පුතිට. කටවගෙන කියන දේ කරා. මොකක්වත් තීරණයක් ගන්න දෙන්නේ. I don't know even your degrees, A levels, how much you decide. Somebody decides for you. So you're not allowed to ask questions and challenge them and all that. Then problem solving. What a problem solving. In a school, if you fail, if you get 5 answers out of 10, they say, they're not allowing you to discuss and solve problems. Supposing they tell that child, I say, you got 5 right. So that's why in Sinhala fail කියන වචනයක් නැහැ. අසාර්ථක, unsuccessful. That means you can try it next time. But problem solving we don't encourage in our school. All about grades. Then බලන්න. දැන් ළමයෙකුට 96ක් කම් වෙනවා subject එකට. අම්මා හරි තාත්තා හරි එනවා for they come. අම්මා අප්පා වරවන්න parent teachers meeting. What do they ask? ඉස්සලා මහන්නේ මොකක්ද අර teacher ගෙන් 96ක් හම්බෙච්ච subject එක. ඉස්සලා මහනවා වෙන කාට හරි 100ක් හම්බුනා. Where are the 100 marks? Then the teacher will say, then they turn to the child and say, what do you feel? Mama, I see a gun. Now, recently, there was an ex-colleague of mine. 8 A's and 1 B O levels. Down a Facebook post. He is putting a Facebook post, one post. Put the daughter's name. I think my daughter so and so got a B for maths. Appachi is very sad. Now he is going public and he has many followers because he works in a big social organization. He's telling the world, my daughter has got a B for maths. He doesn't talk about the 8 A's she got. Talks about the B. And he said, Appachi is sad. Now what does the child feel? Hopeless. That's why. Get a first class. First class, ganda, second class, upper, second, upper. Very good. But don't think that by just getting that, that's going to define your career first and foremost. First, you come to life later. No. Now, when you come for a job interview, yes, some jobs, they'll ask you for your degree and all that. Pay officer gave it. You come for an interview. I do the last interview. I do not look at their certificate. I do not look at their certificate. because that somebody else would have to question them to see whether they have basic skills in that particular area. But I don't ask. I'll ask them, what did you do in school? What did you do in university? Then they say, I did physics, chemistry, and then I did my A-levels. I said, no, I hit that one depa. Then we see, did he do debating? Did he do organizing a sports meet, organizing an English literary day, Sinhala Sahitya? University also, I always ask them, what did you do in the university? Apart from going to lectures and studying, university is an important time in your life. You must do things, get together, solve problems, or discuss, organize. That's what we look for. Because we don't expect you to know the technology when you come, because that technology is not taught in university. You are taught fundamentals. But when you come to IT, my company, you don't know that kind of networking that we are doing out there. The university doesn't teach that. We don't need that. Okay, yes, sometimes we need electronic background. But I'll give another example of a boy who came to our, while I say your degree is not your career, he came to our enabler. Minya වැඩ as a call center engineer in e-channeling, call center agent, call center answering call, 15,000 rupees salary. We had a technology called virtualization, which we had just started, virtualization, IT. Minya, I will like, mata me subject again, I'll come and work for you for 10,000 rupees. So we said, my God. He said, no, 10,000 next year he must have joined at about 25,000, went to 50,000, 75,000, 125,000. Next year he jumped to 250. Today he must be getting at least 450,000 maybe. And he became one of the top 6 people in that technology, that company, which were VMware. For the first six to get through that professional qualification in the world. And he went and deployed those solutions in banks, telecom companies, virtualization. Those days, one application, you have one server, right? Today, you can put many applications into one server because the server uses only 10% of its capacity. So servers are very powerful now. But our architecture, you can only run one application. So if you run, although the computer is using only 10% of its capacity, you are running only one application. But the computer is drawing 70% of its rated power. So there are 100 computers only operating at 10% efficiency, but 70% power. So we went and changed that. Today we can run 100 applications in 2 servers. Technology. How many companies here say today is leading a team of engineers? Then we had another chap, came from Peradeni, electrical engineering. Today is a data center architect. Data center HVAC, heating, ventilation and cooling. You think HVAC, so mechanical engineering work is involved in that. But he was an electrical engineer. He came and learned how to manage buildings, energy efficient data centers. Will run hundreds and thousands of servers. Electrical also. But he now designs data centers. He is one of the top consultants in data center designing. Electrical engineering background. That didn't stop him. So my point to you is, look at the types of problems and what might interest you before you quickly decide, don't think narrowly. All you have to do in your engineering degree is to see, am I training my mind to inquire? That's what you're training, not narrowly on that subject. How can I apply this to solve problems? Then, even if you come out as an electrical engineer, there are other things you can do. That's the thing I want to share. And secondly, your career is not your job. Your career life is not your job. Sorry, your life is not your career. And take a risk. Move on. Now there is a guy who did computer science in Moratoa. Hema's CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Hema's big conglomerate. Now he has moved out, he has bought a part of the Hema's business. Now he is a managing director of that company. At Enable, we had so many people who had degrees in electronics, but they moved on to other things. And all of you must understand software and IT. You have to know that. Because today, everything you do is all computer-aided designing. So if you want to solve problems, if you're going to really use your engineering skill, you're going to need computer simulation, computer-aided designing. Think about that. Programming, all that becomes a core competency for engineering. If you're going to do the kind of engineering they're talking about, which is solving problems. Otherwise, you can get a job, sure, get a mechanical engineer, but is that engineering? Is it engineering to build an apartment building? Sure. But is that what you want to do? You can make some money. So these are questions you have to ask yourself in your first year. Start there. Start there. And don't be afraid. Take on something. I like it. Don't think, mechanical you get a basic foundation. Foundation technology. And you can go wherever you want. There are many problems to be solved that needs combination of skills and cross-functionally going to put a little bit of electrical, mechanical, civil. How does it all work together? Because in the future, work is all integrated work. Other thing is you can completely give up engineering, do something else. Because already you have trained your mind to solve problems. So that's what I want to leave with you. So important thing is to be curious. That's all you need for the time. Because information is available. Because now just one more example about grades and this rush to get grades. I'm telling you again, get our first class, but just because you get a first class, don't think your future is sorted. There may be other people like that engineer who came from each channel. He might get the job. I'll give you an example. We have 3 people batched up from a university who came statistics. So we were doing predictive analytics, algorithms. Predictive analytics, data analytics, statistics. 3 batched up. Unfortunately, none of them we could hire. Why? They know the mathematical formulation, all that regression. Regression. So we took other people. They knew when you give a problem, because we give them a problem and say, what will you do if you have a problem like this? Interviews degree subject problem so regression regression that's what will make you unique and stand out and give you confidence to take a risk. Take a risk. And first job, don't think you're going to get a first job. Always think, where is the job that will give me experience? Experience. 15,000 salary, 10,000. Why? Because he knows at this company I'm going to get experience. Experience is important. Can I go to a place where I can put my skills to work to solve real problems? But I'm very sad that in Sri Lanka today, we don't have big projects. A railway project. After British left Sri Lanka, first time we built a railway, Sri Lanka built a railway. One is to Beliata, other was in Jaffna. I was also happy. Then I found out who built it. Beliata Railway, Chinese, Northern Railway, Japanese, Indians. Come on. What is the meaning? Our engineers can't build a railroad. Now highways. All the bloody roads are built by foreigners. Even buildings are built by Chinese today. So what is the scope for real engineering in this country? Sadly, very little. Port city. What fabulous technology is there? But today, no Sri Lankan engineer can even go into the port city. So you have to think about that. Where are the opportunities going to be? So my point is, we spoke about a few things. At the end, I'll talk about something else and we'll stop with that. I think I've spoken for about 30 minutes. Yes, 36 minutes. Just some ideas for you to think about. Question time. Ona Prasaving Handa. Tamil, I might not be able to answer completely in Tamil, but I can try. So, Nekasini, are you Tamil? Are you going to do the translation? There are Tamil questions.
Yes, sir. I'm Tamil.
Very good. அப்ப நீங்க translate பண்ணுங்க.
Okay.
எனக்கு விளங்குறது நான் சொல்றேன். And some of the important words I might not know in Tamil. Singaling
Okay.
chat. Thank you.
The participants who need to ask the questions, feel free to ask.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, thank you very much, and it was so inspired, and I was so keen to hear that voice.
How's the name? Who is speaking?
I am Viraj, sir.
Viraj, because I can't. I'll switch to. Right. Yes, Viraj. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. When you mentioned about that the selection of the field, that I also faced such an incident because my parents wanted to do my civil. Still even today, they are saying, why didn't you do civil? You can earn a lot of money. The parents have a connection with civil, but I still selected electrical. So I feel that I like that and I interested in that. And I wanted to ask, when you moved from that IBM to Sun. So the competencies you were there any competencies you trained or any skills, specific set of skills other than curiosity and inquiring, other than any things that we need to follow to jump into this career field?
Firstly, Viraj, I'm very happy that you have, despite your parents, you have decided to electrical. Viraj. They also don't know, because you see, I mean, I don't know your background. Parents also like their children to do well. Unfortunately, doing well, that's happened to Sri Lanka. Now you see, only at 63 years, only now I built a house. Only last May, I came to my own house. I was living in a rented house. If you don't have that up to first year, you have to come out to get a job, then they want you to build a house. Then they want you to get a car. Then you're already in debt now. Then you're afraid to leave a job. Then you go on to a job, the manager is treating you badly, you come. But you're not right. But you have so much debt. I chucked up my job in India and came to twice. Big salary. I came back. No job. I was confident, but I didn't burn. I'm very happy that you spoke about about electrical, because you see, these people don't know, unfortunately. Now see, I was looking at this. Now it's a very interesting thing. Now see, electrical. I was looking at this very interesting article about demand for electrical engineering. Now they're saying electrical engineers are in the forefront of the most exciting developments in science and technology, including, now listen to me, wireless neural links. What does it do? That could help stroke victims. Stroke victims regain motor function. She tell them, I see electrical wiring field. So you heard that, Viraj. Neural links, wireless neural links, right? Because that will help stroke victims regain their motor function. Stroke victims are move around. And we are not talking about only jobs in Sri Lanka. I mean, other countries can flourish. So it's a very exciting field. So firstly, I want to congratulate you. And I can send you a link that you can tell your parents, what electrical engineering is all about. So now coming to your question. Now, when I left this computer land and joined Sun or whatever, I'm telling you, Viraj, මට තිබුණ එකම දේ තමයි ඕනෑම ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගැන මට උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා. මට හැකියාවකුත් තියෙනවා. I can read and absorb. I can read technology and understand. Now, for example, now I'm not electrical engineer, but I can read about engineering and I can understand very quickly what electrical engineer is going to do for the future. ඒකේ උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒක කියවුවම මට ඒ දැනුම ගන්න පුළුවන්. But I don't have to do software coding. No. I am managing team of people. I don't need to know that, but I need to understand how technology works. That came ඒක මට ආවේ අර උනන්දු අර inquiring mind කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒකෙන් තමයි ආවේ. දැන් මේ lecture එකටත් මම ඔයලා බැලුවා. ඉතින් ඒකෙන් මම ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. Even electrical I didn't know, to give that example of neural links, wireless neural links. So that's all I had, Viraj. Just curious, and I would put some hard work. I would learn it, notes, read about it, understand it, and then I would present myself at an interview. They had to choose me, and I can lead and I can communicate also. Communication skills, we'll talk about that later. You have to be able to tell a story. ඔයාගෙන කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ ඉන්ටර්විව් එකට ගිහලා ඔයා උඩ බිම බලන් ඉන්නවා නම් ඔයා මට ඉතින් ඒක වෙනම ඒක soft skill එකක්. ඒක පස්සේ කතා කරමු කවුරුහරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇහුවොත්. I was good at that. I can tell a storytelling. මං ගැන හරි මමගේ දැනුම ගැන හරි පොඩ්ඩක් අව්‍යාජ විදියට කතා කරනවා. In an authentic way I can talk about it. So Viraj, to answer your question, that's all I had.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
But to become a mechanical engineer, that alone is not enough. You have to then understand the subject, the science and mathematics behind it. That's what you're learning. The underlying technology. You can apply it for anything. So that you need. So you need the skills. For a real engineer, you need that skill. But skill alone is not enough. You have to be able to apply that skill to solve a problem. And something that you're proud of, I say, why me and my team, we working Jaguar, we made a beautiful bloody thing on it. Or I mean, renewable energy, I'm doing a job in, Denmark or wherever. I say, we are working on some fabulous future projects, පොඩි රස්සාවක් කරගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්. කමක් නැහැ. ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒක කරා කියලා ප්‍රශ්නකුත් නැහැ. Thank you for that, Viraj.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for starting off with that question. Anita දැන් අහන්න. එයාගේ lead එක ගන්න Viraj. Yes, what's your name? මොන මලවරච්චිද?
Patu.
Yes, Patu. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from first year, and first of all, thank you for your inspirational words. Sir, I'm very much interested in electronics, software engineering, and that's it, like automation and stuff. But as we know, the faculty consider our grades when we are getting selected to departments. But if I got selected to civil engineering instead of electrical engineering, what should I do?
So now what is so highest marks go where?
Actually, it depends on the demand, no? As we know.
That you don't see. So you see, that's the sad thing about university education. Of course, the university can't help it. There must be some system, no? If everybody wants to do one subject, they can't accommodate. So that year they'll see the demand, right? So unfortunately, you have that little limitation. You might not be able to do what you really want to do. But that's where what I'm telling you is going to be important, Patu. Kamak ne. Wa monoa hambuna. Eka neme prashne. Wa eka a degree karana gamam. You can be, say for example, what do you really like to do?
I really like to do electronics.
Electronics. So that comes under electrical and electronics department.
Yeah.
Right. Suppose you get what? Mechanical. Right?
So if I go to mechanical engineering, I can go into mechatronics because there are elective modules.
But you're worried that you might end up in civil engineering.
If I end up in civil engineering, that's something I don't really like.
So yes, you do have an immediate problem, right? You have an immediate problem of this is not what I really like. So you have only two options there, Patu. Ekak තමයි දමල දාලා යනවා. ඒක කරන්න බෑනේ. ගොඩක් මහන්සි වෙලා ඔයා මෙතනට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. Correct? You have come very hard and you have worked that. Now you are learning fundamentals of civil engineering. Engineering, you are learning some engineering. You are learning how to use mathematics. Correct?
Yeah.
So you are learning mathematics. Correct? Now you will learn also IT. Do they teach IT?
Yeah, that is.
So you're learning IT. Then you're having friends who are doing mechanical and electrical and all that. You can have discussions with them. So you start talking to them. You have conversations with them. Then you're keeping that curiosity going. Then you're also learning on your own. Because you have mathematics, no? As a foundational skill. And you're learning how to apply that in a civil engineering world. That's okay, but you're learning how to apply knowledge to address problems. Okay? But don't forget, even in civil engineering, there's a different future. Sustainable buildings. You see? You think, suddenly you might see something that might make you shift to civil engineering as a profession. Now, look at building sustainable housing. Sustainable housing. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, you're not starting off with the ideal job, ideal engineer, but there's nothing to stop you doing your further degree in another area. And pursue your own interest in electrical and mechanical, by having those discussions, keeping that curiosity going, and applying how to apply your knowledge. So, and there's a possibility that you might find something exciting in civil engineering. So I know it's not the best place to be, but your life is not going to be decided only because your second year mara civil theruna mara mechanical electrical hambunne. So my whole life is buggered.
Thank you, sir.
You know, Batum, I never dreamt that I would be in IT, any bloody thing in IT. So what? Just all I learned then. Yes, I'm not an IT engineer, yes, but I'm still, and I'm hiring engineers. That's even better. So don't worry about it.
Thank you, sir.
But try to get your grades that will take you there.
Yeah, should work hard.
It's a tough job for these
Hello,
guys.
sir.
Yes. Sigera.
I'm Sigera, Vilochana.
Yes,
Yeah,
Vilochana.
so my question is, most students have dreams. So some of them are in different levels than the others. So some people, they tend to neglect their dreams, thinking that they are unachievable. So what on that?
Yes. It's a tough question because you see now, for example, there was a girl in the Girl Guides Association. I went to give a talk. Yeah, Kiwa, the 3 A's I got for my A-levels is a curse on my life. Jeeviti Sapya, curse. Because I didn't want to do medicine. My parents, because I got 3 A's, they sent me to medical college. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to write poetry. Kaviliya. So I told her, okay, you can do both. You can still do your kavi, right? And you'll be a great doctor. Because as a doctor who writes poetry, you'll be a very humane doctor. Nowadays, some of the doctors, I go to consult, I say, they don't even smile at you. They come for an appointment 1 hour late, 2 hours late. They don't even say sorry. These are patients who are waiting to see them with sicknesses. And they march in 2 hours late. They don't even say sorry. So arrogant, So I said, you'll be a nice doctor. You're writing poetry. So you'll be gentle, you'll be kind, you'll talk nicely. So yes, there is a dream. But what is stopping you from pursuing the dream? That's the only question you have to ask yourself. What is stopping you? Now, sometimes you might have a problem like this. Or you might come from a family background where they're expecting, you get a good job, then your sisters and brothers also, coming to there also going to school. So we can help the others, like my family. Now, when I went to work at 19 years, I get it in an envelope. 465 rupees I got. I come and give it to my mother. And then I take the money from her next day for bus fare and lunch. You think, but you have to support. So they might be expecting you to support the family or something like that. So you might want to do a job. But I started with banking as a clerk. That doesn't stop me from there. And I didn't have a particular dream because I wanted to just enter the world. Monkey had a career, move swiftly in an uncontrollable way. Try adventure. I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try something else. So I didn't have a dream. So what is your dream? That's also an important question. Some people say passion. So don't wait for a passion. Whatever you do, put passion into it. Among banking clerk, passion. I'm telling you, I wanted to understand what the hell am I writing these vouchers? What does it mean? That is why in my third year, my boss's boss went to see the head of IMF on top of the central bank. He's on top of the governor at that time. He had to see him because he took me. I was a bloody junior. I was 21 years. Because he knew Peter will be able to answer that. German, he might put a big talk in. What I'm trying to say is that you bring passion to whatever you do. Don't wait for your ideal dream to come about. But at the same time, don't be afraid to drop what you are doing to chase your dream. I'll give you an example of my nephew, Odikolla. His passion is music. Now, somehow, earlier his parents said, I say this bugger is not studying, man, he's playing the bloody guitar and all that. Now he's coming on Saturday to my house to film his original song. He's found the money, he's so interested, he's composing music. Now he might not get a big salary, but his parents will support him. He has got a little money from his mother who died, and my brother married again. That's a different matter. But he's pursuing. He's pursuing. If he wanted to be a rich man with a house and a car, he might give it up. Because he may say, that I can't achieve. They're so successful. Today, as a musician, you can also have a successful life in terms of finances. You can write songs for other people to sing. You can put your own songs on YouTube. Okay, that's an exception. But still, there are people who have 10 million views. So you can make money also in music. So it's a tough question you ask me. One is, don't say, this is my only dream and this is what I pursue. You may want to look at other options. Secondly, if you really want to pursue it, pursue it. But you need the support of your family and others. It's a tough question. Yes,
so I have another question regarding that, sir.
Who is that? Who is asking? No, so Vilochan, question
okay.
So yeah, others a chance. So at the end, if there is time, please ask her. Please remember that, and I'm happy to take that on. I think we have Kaushini online. Yes, Kaushini.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that you have a very powerful voice, and I really like the way you speak. Now, can you hear me?
No, Zoom.
No, sir.
All right, okay. Powerful voice, okay.
Oh, like you are inspiring.
I'm teasing you. I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. And I really like the way you speak, and I was so interested in your speech. Well, first of all, I want to say that when I did my O-levels, I didn't thought that I will be selected to engineering. So my set score was on the margin, like I might be selected or I might not be selected. So I was prepared to become an quantity surveyor or some other thing, or from the IT field or anything like that. I was prepared to be someone like that, because I don't have like I should do this and I should become like this. I didn't have that goal. So when I was selected to engineering field, that I was a little bit confused to what I should choose like that. So I was in the mentality that I was not good enough because I don't know what field I was going to go like that.
Right.
So it was a little bit more. So when I was learning in the first year, I am a first year student, sir. I felt that I might interested in mechanical engineering because I have a talent in art. I did art as a subject, a group subject in my O levels.
Yes.
So I like designing and putting stuff together like that. But when I talked with my mother also, but
Right.
my mother said that in the modern world we need electricity, like everything need electricity, devices. We all need electricity. So my mother said that it will be good that if I could go in that field, but my mind also agree with her, but my heart will always say that I like designing and I am might interested in somewhat in the robotic field. So what should I do? There's two choices, and I can go either way like that. So it's a tough choice.
Tough choice, tough choice, tough choice. But your mother is a very smart lady. What is she? Is she a teacher?
She's a bank manager.
Go ahead. What a bank? I was in banking. What bank is she?
She's in Monragala bank, and she's an ARM manager now.
What bank is she working?
Mahajana Bank.
People's
Sir.
Bank. Gotcha.
People's Bank. Sorry.
Firstly, congratulate your mother. Mahajana Bank ko thamai single na. Congratulate your mother on giving you good advice because she's like Tesla. Tesla said no electricity ඒක තමයි මට කිව්වේ. බලන්න වගේ අම්මා පුත් Tesla ගැන දන්නත් එයාගේ සාමාන්‍ය දැනුම. She's talking about how important electricity. So that's a great thing. At least you have a wonderful mother who is allowing you to. But yes, and you see, mechanical engineering, like you correctly said, you have a design skill, designing mindset. It's a very important mindset. It's just a unique mindset, designing something. So, but you can design electrical solutions also. Design is not only mechanical. Designing is anything you design, a solution you have to design. It has to work together. The pieces have to come together. So it's difficult for me to advise you, but I would tend to ask you to wait till the end of the year, at least, before you choose. Read a little more. Go and look. Just I learned by looking at the future of electrical engineering, the future of mechanical engineering. Jobs of the future. අනාගතය ගැන හිතන්න. Then see all come out in by the time you hit the mid-career, it's 2040, what will the world look like? And you come to that in the end. And also important thing to ask yourself, Kaushik, what do you want to do with life? Do you want to be solving problems? Then you can help you to choose also. But at least wait till end of the year. Read a little more about electrical engineering and all the, like I said, read about the future of electrical engineering. Read as much as you can. Read about the future of mechanical engineering. And you might want to bring your designing skills to electrical also. So don't think that designing skills are only confined to mechanical. Designing mindset can be used for anything. So, and at the end of the year, you might have less of a stress to decide because you've kept an open mind. Keep your options open. Learn a little more. And then you can decide whether you want to follow your mind or your heart. But my point to you is, whatever you choose, don't be afraid. Because your life will be good. Because what a mindset. I am very confident that with this kind of mindset, you will do well. So don't think, oh my God, I made the wrong choice. No. Then put everything into that. Passion. You'll do well. Don't worry about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very
Again,
much.
I'll give a quotation for all young students not to worry about all these things now. Just have fun.
Thank you, sir.
Seems I have a question.
How the
Mazar say.
Sorry?
Mazar
Yes,
say.
Mazar. Yes, I can
I
see
hope
now.
we can
Yes,
see.
Mazar. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I just came through from a like family who's not like that educated. So I just went with my gut. Like whenever I took a decision, I went with my gut. I chose what I think what I should do.
Yep.
So like my journey was based totally on me. No, there was no one to guide me.
Right.
But now I feel like okay, there are students like me during my time, and there are students like me now as well. So I wanted to mentor them. Like I went into teaching, but teaching was not for me.
Right.
So then I thought, okay, so I felt like advising people, mentoring them was kind of interesting. So I started mentoring things. So I had an Instagram page and I was mentoring aerial students, couple of them for free, and I went through like that. And I'm running a similar project at my village using some undergraduates. But I feel like I wanted to turn this to my career, like to a business and take it long. But at some point, I'm very afraid to take that risk, like to take it, like to move, just finish my degree, then go towards it. But if it goes wrong, like what if I couldn't do it better? Like what if I couldn't possibly change it to career? So then, what happens to my whole journey? Like we have a big gap in my career, so I have to start back from the as a engineer back again. So risk take that risk, giving up everything, so that we have a social push from the family, the society as well. So how do we get that tendency, like the courage to take that risk forward and do the work? So I want to know like how to get that.
Okay. So firstly, mentoring is a big subject. No, I think to mentor someone with some deep mentoring, you need experience. You see, without an experience or learning, it'll be difficult to mentor. I'm not saying you can't, but if you're going to make a career out of it, what are you going to mentor them about? That's the question. I'm glad you're doing this because you're feeling I can mentor them about something.
Yes.
But now you yourself are 21 or whatever, 20, 21, 19, 20, I don't know. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, what are you mentoring people on currently?
So currently, I am mentoring A-level students how they can get results, get to graduates. So if I'm making it a business, it depends on their experience. So I'm creating a platform where they can get a profile, they can have the profile, and they can market. So I'm mentoring on this. So students could, anyone could come and like have an appointment and like have a one individual talk with them. So that's what I was thinking, like a platform for people to get advices. Because if we take LinkedIn, we can't text anyone and have a appointment and do something, right? So I want to get
now do that. See, now do that. Continue to do that. But to be a mentor, I think it's also good. For example, if you do very well in this area, one particular engineering area, you can still mentor. No? You widen your scope of mentorship. You don't narrow it. No? Now you learn something more. Now you can expand your mentorship to something. Now I am also doing some kind of mentoring, no, through this. Now my mentoring comes from my experience. Otherwise, what? I'm not saying you can't mentor. Yes, a little bit, but you don't have that much of an experience to deal with as the problems get more and more difficult. Then you become a much valued mentor. Yes, you can make some money, and you can sell someone, put up a Facebook page and put an Instagram and all that, and that will have some value. But if you can widen that capacity of mentoring to gaining additional knowledge. Now, by doing a degree, you'll widen the possibility of mentoring. It complements what you want to do. It's not two different things. So continue that. Meanwhile, if you go and work somewhere, you get experience. Through experience, you can mentor. You can mentor people from textbook. But very soon, people see through that. But if you gain more knowledge, like through a degree, and gain experience, but keeping mentoring as your key capability, you widen the scope of your mentoring students and audience. So don't have to choose one or the other now, Master. Don't be in a hurry. Continue to do that in a small way. University, you'll gain experience. You'll talk to people, different types of people. You collect that skill also to go into mentoring. Because mentoring means learning new things. No? If you think, no, I have all the knowledge I need to mentor people now, then that might not be good mentoring. That might limit your mentoring. So my not advice, but my suggestion to think about is continue mentoring. Gain more experience about the subjects that are interested in mentoring. Gain some experience so that you can share like me. You can tell them a story about yourself. I can't mentor by textbook. That's not real mentoring. That's like, that's inauthentic. It's not avyaja. Sinhalese, Tamil, don't know Tamil word. Vyaja. So, yeah, do both. For the
Okay.
time. Do both. And switching later, you can worry about it.
Okay, so thank you
What's
so
the
much.
next question? Yes,
Sir,
someone with the hand. Hansana?
Oh.
Go
Yes,
ahead, please.
ඇත්තටම මේ කතා බහ ගොඩක් රසවත් සහ හරවත් මේ මට දැනගන්න ඕනේ ඇත්තටම ඉලක්කයක් තියාගෙන යන එකද හොඳ නැත්නම් එන දෙයට මුහුණ දීගෙන යන එකද හොඳ සහ මම කැමතියි දැනගන්න දැන් අර ඇක්ටිං පැත්තට එහෙම සම්බන්ධුනේ කොහොමද කියලා ඒ ගැන දැනගන්න ආසයි.
මම එකකින් පටන් ගන්නවා. So acting පොඩි කාලේ නම් මම ඇක්ට් කරනවා කවුරුත් නැහැනේ මම කිව්වේ තාත්තා මැරලා අපි පිස්සු කෙල්ලෝ කියලා. So I don't know man මම පොඩි කාලේ නම් මට මතක කාලේ නම් මොකක් හරි සින්දුවක් කියනවා. අන්තිම මගේ කට්ටියත් උනන්දු කරනවා ඉතින්. ගෙදර ගා පීටර් can sing voice සින්දු කියන්නේ කියලා මම ප්‍රංකාල පැනලා කියනවා for guest ලාව. ඉතින් පොඩි රංගන කරනවා. ඉතින් මම තාම මතකයි මේ grade 2 එකේදී මම තමයි ඕගනයිස් කරන්නේ මේ ගේම්ස් අපි ඉස්කෝලේ. හටාරි කියලා ෆිල්ම් එකක් තිබ්බා. ඒකේ ඉන්නවා රයිනෝසරස් කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා මේ ජීප් එකක් යනවා. ඒ ඔක්කොම සෙට් කරන්නේ grade 2. මම සෙට් කරලා ඉතින් කොල්ලෝ මම තමයි හොඳම රෝල් එක ගන්නෙ මම. මුන් මගේ පස්සෙන් එනවා දුවනවා යනවා. So I don't know how I really learned that skill පොඩි කාලේ but no, I put it this way. Nobody ඒක about control කරේ. මගේ creativity එක encourage කරා මිසක් they didn't come. That's what happened. All children are creative. I'm sorry, what's your name again? මට නම පොඩ්ඩක් අමතක වුණා. Hansana මේක අන්න ඒකයි ප්‍රශ්නේ Hansana. ඔක්කොමලා ප්‍රශ්න අහන. ඔක්කොමලා creative. All children are born creative. අපි අර අම්මලා තාත්තලා පොඩි කාලේ creativity එක නැති කරා. I say අර ගයි දැන් උතයි. ශිෂ්‍යත්වයට කේල් මන් ශිෂ්‍ය. මේකට උගන්වනවා grade 1 ඉන්න අප්පා. grade 1 ඉන්න මොන කාලකණ්ණි වැඩද? creativity එකට කොහෙද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? ඉරිදා දහම් පාස්. ඉතින් ඉරිදාවත් පොඩි ළමයෙකුට විවේක හරි හැමදාම ධම්ම අපිට කියන්නේ ගෙදරනේ. කොයි දවසේ පන්සලේ ගන්නද? So I'm sorry, creativity is killed. It's mostly there. So that's how I was allowed to do my creativity. Nobody take a control करे. School skill creativity. Come exam results. වා නාට්‍ය කර ඉන්න වාට ලකුණු ගායි O level එකේ. Subject teacher කියනවා පඩක ඉන්දිය දානවා if you go and do some drama or something. දාතේ කරලා එනකොට මෙයා නාට්‍යකාරී නෙමෙයි. ඒ බලමුකෝ විභාගේ මොනවද හම්බෙන්නේ කියලා. So that's that question. අනිත් question එක මොකක්ද? choose කරන්න. පළවෙනි question එක මොකක්ද?
ඉලක්කයක් තියාගෙන යන එකද හොඳ නැත්නම්
ඉලක්කයක් තියාගෙන. Yes, good question. So now ඉලක්කය. Options දෙකක් එකක් හොඳයි අනිත් එක it's not like one is better than the other answer. දැන් අපේ දැන් මම දිනනවා the dialogue එකේ CTO Chief Technology Officer ප්‍රදීප් DÁlmeida මගේ නෑ කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි. එයා නම් කිව්වා when he left Moratuwa, when he was in Moratuwa, electronics and engineering, telecom career, he was very sure he wanted to do telecom engineering. That's okay. So then he pursued that. That was a top job there. He is number 3. And he has a huge engineering team and he's that's okay. But there are others who did not have a ilak. I'll see where my life takes me. More exciting. So it's එකක් අනිත් එකට වඩා හොඳයි කියලා මම කියන්නේ. ඉලක්කයක් තියෙනවා ඒක pursue කරන්න. ඉලක්කයක් නැතුව අපි පොඩ්ඩක් ගමනක් යන්න මම තාම අවුරුදු 21යි නේ. ඒක හොයලා බලමු තව කල් තියෙනවා මට. ඒක දැක්ම මම තීරණය කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මගේ ජීවිතය ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් යන්න mechanical electrical මොනවද අපි හොයාගෙන යන්න. Because you will learn something later that you don't know today. මේ පොඩි කාලේ වාගේ හැවුවනම් වා ඉලක්කයක් කරගන්න කියලා ඒතකොට lawyer engineer හරි narrow නේ. ඒකට අපි දන්නවද මේ renewable energy තියෙනවා කියලා engineering. biomedical engineering ගැන අහලා තිබ්බද? sustainable energy, renewable energy, environmental engineering. ඒව අහලවත් නැහැ. ඉතින් අපි ඉලක්කයක් වේලස්සෙන් ඔළුවට දාගත්තා නම් ඒතකොට අපේ options අඩුයි. හැබැයි ඒක කරා කියලා ප්‍රශ්නකුත් නැහැ. දෙකම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒ වා බලන්න ඔයාට තේරෙනවද නැහැ මට දැනට හිතනවා මේක තමයි කරන්න හොඳට කරන්න. but එතන how do you apply that for solving problems? ඒක හතරින්ද. ඒක තියෙනවා. easy කියලා හදිසියක් නෑ බං. මම පොඩ්ඩක් ඉතන බලන්න මොකද්ද කරන්න කියලා. තව ටිකක් ඉගෙන ගන්න. මොනවද වෙන්නේ?
බොහොම ස්තුතියි සර්. ඇත්තටම මේ මට මේ ලොකු ආසාවක් තියෙන්නේ මේ ඉංජිනේරින් පැත්තෙන් නෙමෙයි. ඒකයි තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන්
ඒක අර ළමයා කිව්වා වගේ සාපයක් මේ තුන හො. ඉතින් මොකද ඔයා කරන්න කැමති? අන්සර්.
මම කැමති මේ ඩිරෙක්ටිං පැත්ත, ෆිල්ම් ඩිරෙක්ටිං එහෙම.
මේක ගොඩ දාගන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා. එහෙමනම්. එහෙමත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් බලන්න අර අශෝක හඳගම. එයා ෆිල්ම් ඩිරෙක්ටිං නෙමෙයිනේ පටන් ගත්තා. එයා සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් ඉකොනොමිස්ට්. එයා ඉකොනොමි දන්නවනේ අශෝක හඳගම. දන්නවද? අයි ෆිල්ම් හදන්න?
ඔව් සර් දන්නවා.
අහලා නැතනම්?
අහලා තියෙනවා.
එතකොට ඉතින් එයා මේ ෆිල්ම් ඩිරෙක්ටර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න නෙමෙයිනේ ගියේ. එයා ඉකොනොමික්ස් සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක්. එයා මේ ඇසිස්ටන්ට් ගවර්නර්. මම දන්නේ මොකක් හරි ලොකු තනතුරක්. But that didn't stop him from making films. ඉතින් ෆිල්ම් මේකින් ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් පැත්තකින් ඒක ඉගෙනගෙන යන්න. දැන් පොඩි ෆිල්ම්ස් හදන්න පුළුවන් iPhone එකකින්. ඉතින් ඊට පස්සේ වට එතකොට ඒක මේ බෑකප් එකක් තියෙනවා. මම දන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ෆැමිලි බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේම බලාපොරොත්තුවක් ඇති මේ දුව ටිකක් ඉගෙනගෙන ඉංජිනේරින් කරලා මොකක් හරි අපේ තත්ත්වෙ පොඩ්ඩක් දියුණු කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා පොඩි ඉතින් එම බලාපොරොත්තුත් ඇති. ඒක ඉතින් ඉංජිනේරින් ඉගෙන ගත්තා කියලා ෆිල්ම් මේකින් කරන්න බැරි වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක තියාගන්න. ඒ උනන්දු තියාගන්න. But you don't have to give up engineering to do that. You don't have to. But continue doing that. Make small films with the iPhone. පොඩි software එකක් කරන් edit කරන්න. ඒවා කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට පේනවාට හැකියාව කොහොමද කියලා. I think then you can do that parallelly. ඊට පස්සේ හරි වෙලාවට ඒක switch වෙන්න අර පැත්ත. So keep the option, engineering option එක තියාගන්න. ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ.
Thank you sir. බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Excuse me sir, I am audible.
Yes, you are audible. අපේ වගේ first name එක මට පේන්නේ නැහැ.
Malaysia.
Malaysia. කියන්න Malaysia.
Sir, I have a doubt when we are when we are going our goals, we have to some barriers like a family background, and when we choose foreign countries job and when we doing marine engineering like that, we have to like some family background question. Example, as I am only son in my family, but then my parents are focusing the thinking if I go to the foreign country for job or I go to the marine engineering side, or how can I also I have a doubt, how can I care my parents and like that kind of problem. They are not forced to do this thing they are in. I have a free choose my field, but I also have a doubt if I go to the foreign country or if I go to the far from their family, how can I care my parents? It is that's I have a doubt. I ask sir if it is a actually barrier for our career.
Very difficult question, Mahesh. Malaysia, very difficult question, Malaysia, because I've seen families where children have all gone. The parents are alone, and they come when they're about to die. They come. That's a tough question for me to answer. balancing your, but you can work for a while. ඉතින් පොඩි කාලයක් ඒගොල්ලන්ට manage කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයා පොඩි experience එකක් අරන් එන්න. And you collect some money also, get that overseas experience chance එක හම්බුනා නම් හැබැයි ප්‍රශ්නේ මේකට බය තියෙන්නේ ගියාම. ඒක වාගේ දෙම්ම decide කරන්න. You see, that's a matter that you choose with some. What if they abandon you? I mean, so I have seen parents, live in homes with no child to come and see them. That's a difficult question for me to answer. Would I do that? So I know that it restricts your choices, but that's a decision you have to make, a conscious decision. You can work for a while and then you can visit them once a year. පොඩි කාලයක් අම්මා තාත්තා මම පොඩි අවුරුදු 5ක් විතර මම try කරලා දෙන්නම්. ඉතින් අවුරුදු 5කින් කටි ඉඳන් ඒක කමක් නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක වයනවා permanent නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි ඒකට බය තියෙන්නේ ගියොත් ගියාමයි ඊට පස්සේ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට අම්මලා බලන්න යනවා අවුරුද්දට සැරයක් අවුරුදු දෙකකට සැරයක් ඉතින් තනියම ඉන්නේ. පාසලට ගියාම හරි අමාරුයි. කවුරුත් නැහැ ළමයි නැහැ. අන්ද අපේ මේ හෝම් සේවා අනි සෞතුයිනේ. I have seen parents abandoned by children because they are very busy making and මට පිටරට ගිහිල්ලා මොනවද they are looking for material comfort. මේකයි ප්‍රශ්නේ මේ. මොකද්ද මොනවා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ යන්නේ? හම්බ කරා. මට තියෙන්න ඕනේ හොඳ කාර් එකක් වාහනයක්. එතකොට පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. But if you are going, I say, I want to gain some experience, man. I get to do my engineering work here because I can learn something new. That's okay. But if you are going there and staying there only because you are going to have a great life for yourself and abandon your parents, that's a choice you have to make. It's a tough one. The opportunities are, but some people come back. Some people have worked 10 years and they say, no, I have to come and spend time with my parents because, after all, they are my parents. I'll do a job in Sri Lanka, it's okay. And they told on material things, on wealth and lifestyle and, big car and that. Then you can balance the two. But good question. I'm happy that you're thinking about that. I can වාගේ හෘදයෙන්ම වාගේ consciousness එකකින් ඔයාට උත්තරයක් හම්බෙයි.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir, that I have a question.
Yes.
Each field is not isolated. We should have skills on other field also, but we have limited time to improve that skills. So how we can improve that skill while we are studying and when we are doing the job?
That's a good question, because you see, that's the problem with the education system. Very narrow. You see, we teach physics, chemistry, biology, botany. That's the problem with this old British education system. අපි මේ එකට ඉගෙන ගන්නෙ නෑ. දැන් අපේ ඉස්සර දැන් ගෝවිතයන් කරනකොට ඔක්කොම සයන්ස් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. පරිමාර්ග, එතකොට පැල කරන්නේ කොහොමද කාලෙද කොහොමද පැල කරන්නේ වෙදර් එක බලන්න. මේ ඔක්කොම engineering science නේ. එතකොට පොඩි කැලලක් කරලා පුරුණුන්ට මේ වී කන්න එතකොට මේක කන්නේ නෑ. එතකොට broad understanding of how nature works. So our system is very narrow. Physics, chemistry, biology. But supposing they taught you the science behind environment. Chemistry, biology, soil, physics, electricity, electrical energy. And so you see, that's the problem with this education system. Everything is narrow. There is no multidisciplinary training and teaching. I can't do anything about that because that's the way the education system is. I think very soon they'll have to change this. Multidisciplinary for the basic degree. Little bit of electrical, little bit of mechanical, little bit of civil. So now you are getting a good understanding of how the engineering works and how it works together. But you have to find that for yourself. Just to understand. Have discussions with your friends. But you're asking a great question. Unfortunately, we don't have a solution to this problem with the degree, with the degrees that we award and the way we structure our degree programs in the world, even not only Sri Lanka. Multidisciplinary. That's what the world needs. Multidisciplinary. Chemistry is used to. Chemistry is a material world. No? Everything is made up of chemicals, elements. Materials ගැන දන්නේ නැතුව කොහොමද මොකක්වත් කරන්නේ. ඒක නෑනේ. ඒක නවත්ත. A levels. Materials are formed by elements. ඒ වගේ basic දෙයක් උගන්වනවා නම්. ඉතින් ඒක වාගෙම උනන්දුව තමයි ඇති කරගන්න තියෙන්නේ. මොකද වාගේ මේ Ruhuna University එකේ හම්බ වෙන්නේ නෑ. නමුත් ඔය informal discussions වත් තියෙනවා නම් interdisciplinary meetings, discussions, that make them easily start that, no? Inter-faculty, inter-department discussions or problem solving. අපි problem එකක් දෙනවා. අර මේ contest මේ තියෙන්නේ projects. ඒ projects එකක් දෙනවා මේ department එකතු වෙලා කරන්න. කොහොමද වැඩේ එතකොට? වෙලා නැහැනේ. වෙලා නැහැ teachers ලාගේ මන් දන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝගේ mindset එක කොහොමද දන්නේ නැහැනේ. So it's a system, no? It will be so exciting, no? Then you don't have all the problem but I choose mechanical, civil, this, that, and all that. No? Then you can at least have informal group work. Then you learn a little. That fellow brings his part. Electrical side, mechanical side, for the project. So I'm sorry, but you're very true, interdisciplinary, but the education, the university system won't provide that. You have to find it yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Now, yes.
Excuse me, sir.
I think we
Sir,
have
can you hear me?
I can hear you, but let's make this the last question. Yes.
Yeah, sir. Is it possible for you to give 10 minutes more or
10 minutes, yes. I have to take my pills. I'm not well, but
okay.
yeah, maybe.
So it's okay.
Wait, no. I'll tell you what. Give me a 3-minute break and I'll come back. Give me back. We can go on for 10 minutes.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
First, I am really glad to participate that meeting because I am your big fan in Malvania character in Rubio teledrama.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, you are a successful person in various fields, such as business and acting field. How do we properly use time for such many fields? As example, I like my career goes to engineering field and I like join script writing field. So I would like to know how we properly time manage both groups, both fields.
Yes, now that's very interesting. Then now the Kelmala Productions we started at the company of to give them an opportunity to write scripts and earn some money also. Now there's a very young chap, 24-year-old boy. His parents want him to do business management or something like the marketing and business management. He went to Australia and he came back. He's a superb script writer, superb. He can write a script that we can take to Netflix, and he's doing that now. So we are able to pay him a salary and tell him to do that. Not a big salary, but he's happy. And if he cracks it, then he'll make a lot of money. But that's a chance he's taking. But he wants to do that full time. And today there's a possibility that you can do this full time and still be able to make money also. So that is there. Now, your question, Madhusanka, about time, that's a choice, because you see, first and foremost, you have to figure out how much time you need to get what you have to do at university. How hard are you willing to work for your passion? See, if you are saying, Mama, so then you have no time. But if you can say, I'll push myself, I'll work 12 hours, some days I'll work even 16 hours. It's okay. I'll do my work and every day I'm going to write something. Every day I'm going to write something. I'm going to write something small. I'll spend at least 20 minutes or 15 minutes. That's another way of looking at it. So you don't have to wait for big chunks of time. You have an interest in writing. I'm going to spend, at least my daughter is a writer. She won the Commonwealth Prize for short story, English short story. Now she says, she writes everything. She wrote that story, Madhushanka, on the Prashna Kande, time management. She wrote that story while she was feeding her daughter, is her son. Breastfeed karna gama ya phone niki katandar liye no phone niki. Just her stories in her head. Only a story kiya ganda. Her husband had gone off to South Africa for a conference and he got stuck for COVID. Then her mother was with her. Nobody can come home. They're managing the child, the washing, everything, cooking all by themselves. And she's writing a story that won the Commonwealth Short Story Prize from all the Commonwealth countries, from 8,000 entries. So you see, this time business is not something that you have to think about. What it's a formula, mathematical formula. How hard are you going to work? How much time are you going to give for your true interest and passion? So take that example for my daughter. I say, if she can feed a child and wash his nappies and panties and write it without waiting, computer so you have to work very, very hard. I work very hard to get where I am, Madhushan. So human capacity for work is there. And over a phone, this bloody Facebook, Instagram, that gram, TikTok, bloody waste of time. Take a dopamine. Instagram story. Dopamine shots there now. That's the biggest challenge for young people. Concentrate karana bad. So everything, our attention span is very short. Still, I was watching some YouTube videos. Mama never thought them parliament. I stopped it. I thought, Peter, you're wasting your bloody time. Harin Fernando, Area, Bandula Gunawardina, Vihilu, Apitan Kale Sata, Taparaka Nastikara. Samaj when they were. So I also found that I say, what the hell, I'm watching YouTube videos, not just gossip, even good things, too much I found. So I can't concentrate on a long article, long talk, on mechanical engineering. Now you have got superb YouTube videos name on this one. Script writing and you'll be surprised. Sometimes 4-6 hours we have gone on all kinds of bloody rubbish. TikTok. WhatsApp jokes classmates videos. So time is you manage time. How you want, that's your choice. Find the time. Find the time. Find the time. Time won't find you. You find the time.
Sir, hello. Mama Chatusha Singha. Chatusha.
Yes, Chatu. Last question.
Yeah. So අතර මං හිතනවා සර් කිව්වා වගේ කැරියර්ස් වල shift වෙන එකට ගොඩක්ම වැදගත් කියලා communication skill එක. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට දැන් සර් කතා කරන විදිහ ගත්තොත් එහෙම අපිට අහගෙන ඉන්න ගමන් ප්‍රශ්න ඇවිල්ලා ප්‍රශ්න විසඳිලත් යනවා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. ඒක මං හිතනවා ගොඩක් වැදගත් කියලා. සර් පුළුවන් පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක ගැන අපිට පැහැදිලි කරන්න communication skill එක කොහොමද අපි වර්ධනය කරගන්නේ? එතකොට ඒකට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්.
ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඒකත් මම unfortunately අපේ පොඩි කාලේ අපිට තියෙනවනේ ඔය කියාව ඒකත් මට්ට කරනවනේ දැන් පොඩි කාලේ බලන්න දැන් මොන්ටිසෝරි ක්ලාස් එකේ දැන් ළමයින්ට පොඩි වත් ඕනම ක්ලාස් එකකට යන්න මම එක දවසක් ගිහලා දහම් පාසලකට උගන්වන්න අර හාමුදුරුවෝ මට කිව්වා අත්මයා වාගේ පන්තියේ එක්කෙනෙක්වත් කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ ප්‍රශ්න අහනකම් උත්තර අහගෙන හිටියා අනිත් දවස්වල ටීචර්ලා කියන අනේ ළමයි කෑ ගන්න එපා ප්‍රශ්න අහනකොට ප්‍රශ්න ඇහුවා. ඉතින් ඔයා කියන එක පොඩි කාලේ ළමයි දඟ කරනවානේ. ඉතින් පොඩි කාලේ ඕනම ක්ලාස් එකට යන්න ටීචර් මොනවද කියන්නේ? කෑ ගන්න එපා දඟ කරන්න. කෑ ගන්න එපා දඟ කරන්න. කෑ ගන්න එපා දඟ. ඊට පස්සේ grade 7 යනකොට කියනවා දැන් ස්ටේජ් එකට නැගලා ස්ටෝරි එකක් කියන්න කියලා. ඌගේ ඔක්කොම මට්ට කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මේම බිල්ලෝ වගේ පන්තියේ කතා කරන්නේ බුදු බුදු ගාන ළමයිට මොකක්ද එතන පොඩි තියෙනවා ස්ටෝරි ටෙලිං කතා කරන්නේ. Now we are saying in අපේ ඉස්කෝලේ බෙල්ටික්ස් කොලේජ් අපි කියලා තියෙන ළමයි දැන් අයමත් ඉස්කෝලේ ආව first week don't teach any subject. Let them share stories about what happened. මොකද මේකයි තාමත්ම මේ පෙර නොවූ දෙයක් නේ. இது நாங்க எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணாத 2 years தானே. இவ்வளவு கஷ்டமா இருந்தது நம்மளுக்கு. So children must come and tell stories. I say, but I mean, not very difficult. The data, my mother was keep beating me. Very sad. She's always pushing me. I hate online. Or somebody said, no, I like online. They take videos and whatever. Storytelling, we are not into what a dang tikak. සමහරට හිතනවා මේක දැන් පරක්කු වැඩිද මේක ඉගෙන ගන්න කමක් නැහැ දැන් අපි try කරමු. See what you have to do is you have to that's what even at university try and have more conversations, you know. Get into small groups and you know සමහර toastmasters යනවා. කමක් නැහැ. එතන පොඩි confidence එකක් එනවා කතා පවත්වනවා. ඒක කතා කරන ශෛලිය ටිකක් වෙනස්. And that's okay, but you know but the only way to learn to tell a story is by telling stories. You can't learn it without telling stories. So you have to tell. And the story is a story. So there is no, again, you don't learn this from textbooks. You can watch other people. Put videos, TED Talks. How are you going to gain experience? That's what I'm saying. The system doesn't allow this kind of thing. Universities also, I don't know what. But they are allowed to have debates, discussions, storytelling days, you know. Just one day, no subjects, man. Just get together, talk inter-faculty discussions. Just go and chat, make friends, tell your stories. So that's a difficult question. I don't have a good answer to say, okay, follow this formula and you'll be a great storyteller. So, but start thinking about what story you want to tell about yourself. Now, when you come for interviews, you know, people don't tell story. Don't talk about your results. That everybody can see, you show the certificate, they know that. But is there something else? That's what you have to start with the next 4 years. What are you collecting? What are the experiences you're collecting today and for the next 4 years that you're going to talk about? Otherwise, what are you going to talk about? You're going to give a lecture on all the notes that you learned on electrical engineering. Who's going to be interested in that? So you have to start collecting these experiences. Maybe write a little story. First, write some short stories. Write a story about what happened today. Put notes today I carry a notebook wherever I go. Always I carry a notebook. Mandane key denek me lecturer notebook ekak genawa. Pudi අදහස් එපා. සමහරට අර කියන එක නෙමෙයි. මම කියන නිසා තව අදහසක් එනවා. ඒ මචං මේකත් මතක් ලියා ගන්න. Then you have something to tell a story. Otherwise, what is your life? If you don't have a life, you don't have a story to tell. Wagi story එක boring. කවුරුත් උනන්දු වෙන්නේ. But if your life is rich of experiences, then you have a great story to tell. So I'll go to the end of my talk straight away, correct, Dr. Prince? So my last question is that you have said engineering. For whom? For whom are you going to do engineering? That's where I want you to think about the problems we face in this country and in this planet. Is it okay if you don't address any one of these main problems? Kari ප්‍රශ්නයක් කරන් ඔයගලගේ mechanical, civil engineering මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට පොඩි විසඳුමක් හොයන්න නැත්නම් මේ ප්‍රශ්න ගැන පෙනී හිටින්න අර ප්‍රති solution. Is it, if you don't do that, what is your life worth? Now your teachers strike. How many of you were interested in that? කවුරු හරි ගියාද ඒකට සහයෝගය දෙන්න? කවුරු හරි ලියුමක්වත් ලියුවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ partner teacher? Miss or sir මම දන්නවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ බොහොම අමාරු සටනක් මේ කරන්නේ මම උනා කැමති මොනාරි කැපවීමක් කරන්න මොනාරි මම වෙන්න මම අඩු ගානේ මගේ සහයෝගය හරි ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා they are standing on the road with umbrellas because why a grade 1 principal when he leaves gets a salary of 60,000 rupees that's absurd so are you not interested farming problem water problem environmental problem dushan lama dushan stri dushan I mean we have so many problems because I always ask if you have 30 seconds left to think about your life 30 seconds தான் இருக்கு சாகுறது and he said I don't think you think about your first class or second upper no I don't think so but if you can think I say I was interested and I helped to solve some problem in this country then you can say you know my life was well lived and my life was worth it so coming back to my topic career your degree is not your career is not your life your CV is not your life infuse life into your career wage career ekata jeevanaya gain unga career ku life kondanga you bring life to your career don't make your career your life because one person famous fellow said what is career is it means that you work all your life like a dog and pant 3 times hatiyara marana is that career so finally small quotation for all of you life is too short to worry about stupid things have fun fall in love regret nothing study think create and grow teach yourself and teach others so with that I wish all of you a great future don't be too worried about deciding what your life is going to be start enjoying life today a university life is a very special time don't waste it on unnecessary rubbish stupid things don't worry about stupid things so have fun learn study grow create fall in love okay so somebody said please repeat the last words I'll do that life is too short to worry about stupid things have fun fall in love regret nothing regret nothing study think create and grow teach yourself teach others okay so I'll ask you to one thing that you can do for me is to write one sentence and then Dr. Prince can send it to me later if there is one thing that you learned today put it on chat now යන්න ඉස්සලා ලියන්න නැත්නම් අමතක එක දෙයක් අද ඉගෙන ගත්තා ඒ කියන්නේ මම කියපු දේවලින් නෙමෙයි මම කියන ගමන් වෙන දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න ඒකවත් ලියන්න එක කෙටි වාක්‍යයක් today one thing I learned was some Singaling hari ලියන්න Tamil වලින් hari ලියන්න because that will help me to understand how my talk is taken ඔයගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද ඒක ගන්නේ so that will be very helpful so please do that as a special favor right now take 3 or 4 minutes write one sentence on chat then y'all are recording it Dr. Prince can get one of you to collect it and send it put it on a nice document and send it to you okay can you all do that
Yes.
yeah
They have given the space in the feedback form so that they can do that.
In the forms or in the chat or whatever.
Yeah.
Try and do it now before you forget. And once you go, you will all get involved with other things and you forget anyway. So I will leave the meeting. And
so before you leave, I have to thank you. So now we have come to the end of today's career guidance session. Your degree doesn't define you or your career. And I personally, as a participant, really learned a lot from Mr. Peter DÁlmeida. And hopefully you can fill the questions or whatever like you learned from this specific session in the feedback form, and we will really forward it to Mr. Peter. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Peter DÁlmeida for sharing amazing insights with us and taking some more extra time for some extra questions posed by the students. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Also, I'm in much gratitude to thank the people behind organizing insightful webinars for us, the Career Guidance Director, Dr. Tushita Gunawardana, Career Guidance Academic Advisor, Dr. Prince, and Career Guidance Counselor, Ms. Vindhya Velihana. And last, I would like to thank the participants who joined today to grace this event. And our next webinar would be Studying Smarter with Neuroscience by Professor Kitsiri Patiran on 8th of December. Don't miss it out. Hopefully, we'll meet in the next webinar. Thank you everyone for joining.
I must also thank the Prince. You all are very fortunate to have someone like her. She was so keen on this session. She called me, she followed up. We had so many discussions. We were thinking about topics. So she was really interested in your learning other than your degrees. You know, she understands what young people are going through. So very fortunate. I'm sure she will be there if you want any informal chats with her. You know, you're very fortunate to have someone like her. So thank you, Dr. Prince. I know how many conversations we had, right? That's why even though I was not well today, I thought I must not let you down, and I must participate in this. So great, thank you all. Take care. Have a happy
Really
future.
appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone.